Happy Sunday, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We are, of course, Talk Tap Queens, and we are coming to you live on this Sunday at 7 o'clock, as we always do. Thank you guys for joining us. We are going to have some really great dialogue today. It's going to be super exciting. So, I am so excited, right, to have the special guests that we're going to have. And we're going to bring them on shortly. I wanted to jump on early to kind of give them the opportunity to join us. So just make sure that you are very patient with us through this process because some have been on live before while others have not. So just be very patient during this process. And we're going to bring them on. And once we get them on, then, guys, I want this to be very interactive. Make sure if you have any questions for the panelists that you ask those questions. That's what we ask each and every time that we're on the live to kind of make it interactive and fun. My co-host will be on here with us shortly. Just know that, guys, this is an unapologetically real conversation in order to have some real dialogue. I'm your girl, Amanda Miller at 105.7 The Phase. And then we are going to have my co-host to join us. Her name is B. And then we'll just jump in and just really, really talk about this thing. So I have one of the viewers that's here. We're going to go ahead and try to bring them on. Love, I see you here as well. And then we're going to help you through this process of getting you on the live with us too. So hold tight, guys. Let me see if I can get you on here. All right, great. So you're right. Let's see if I can go back in there. And so I accepted them. So let's just give it a minute and see. Okay. And I'm going to do this other.
Hello.
Hey, guys. Thank you guys
Hello.
for
How you
joining
doing?
me. I'm super excited to have you both on here with us. We
No,
are
thank
going.
you for having us.
Oh, you are very, very, very welcome. So, look, I am going to share this with you. So, we have unapologetically real conversations on Top Dot Queens. So, anything
Okay.
that we ask, and if you
Hmm.
want to pass on, please,
Huh?
okay. Just say, I plead the fifth, or whatever that is you want to say.
Hey,
and,
listen,
and,
it's no problem. It's no
and
problem. I've already completed my sentence, so we're good.
that's right. and we'll move forward, right? And
Hmm.
so, again, I'm Amanda Miller with 105.7 The Phase, Talk That Queens. If guys who are joining us, please make sure you guys download our app for 105.7 The Phase. Make sure that you are following me every Sunday. I'm here on Talk That Queens every Sunday at 7 with, like, there again, unapologetically real conversations, no holds barred. So whatever we talk about, we'll talk about. But I want to start out with just advising the audience. We would like you guys to be really interactive in if you have any conversations, questions for the panelists, because I am going to questions for them. But if you guys have questions for them, you can put it in the chat. And when you put it in the chat, I'll see it and I'll be able to ask those questions to my guests, right? So I'm going to start off with yet again saying welcome and thank you. I am so humbled to have you guys here and very, very excited, right? So, love, I'm going to start out with you and just ask you to introduce yourself first and foremost to the panel, to our audience, and just tell us, one, who you are, where you're from, and where do you reside now? Because if you're from somewhere else, you can just tell us where you reside now. And then just tell us, well, we'll start with that. So tell us your name, where you from, and where do you reside now? So, love, I'll let you have the floor.
Um, my name is Love Brooks. I was raised in Brooklyn. I was born in Macon. I'm back in Georgia. I spent 27 years in prison.
Okay, thank
I
you for
came
telling us that. And
home.
we're going to dive into some conversations about the whys and how did you get there. And so, George, if you would introduce yourself as well.
Hello, my name is George Oliver. I am from College Park, Georgia, and I still reside in College Park, Georgia.
And thank you, thank you, thank you. And George, how long was your sentence?
I was initially given 20 years in sentence, but when they changed the law, it reduced my sentence to 15 years. And I did actually 13 and a half years in federal prison.
Okay, wonderful. Love, I'm going to come back to you. And so tell us a little bit about the whys as far as your prison sentence. Like, what did you do and what was you convicted for?
I was convicted for conspiracies, possession with intent to distribute mass amount of cocaine, also marijuana in the local area, well, in several areas. I went to trial. I blew trial. I was convicted of trial. And it just stopped all after that. Just going through all the preliminaries, going through the indictment, going through pre-sentence report, actually seeing my best friends on the stand. It was just a whole lot of things. So, but the why was basically me just jumping into this and thinking that one day I'm gonna get out of it, but never had the opportunity to get out of it until they took
Wonderful.
me out of it.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Love, if you would do the same, please.
Narcotics distribution, conspiracy, and RICO. I had a RICO case from out of Brooklyn.
Ooh.
And back then, like, the way that they were sentencing us was ridiculous. And even though years later they had said that it was unconstitutional, it didn't apply to the ones who were already there. And so they basically started changing laws later on. I got out with Trump. Trump came with the First Step Act, which we was waiting on Obama to do. He never did in his 8 years. When Trump did it, I was able to get back in based off of that. And that changed everything. And I was able to get resentenced and come home.
Wonderful. So, George, let me ask you this. I heard Love just say that he wasn't able to come home under the Obama law. Is that what you were released off of?
Yeah, absolutely. I got out on a 2-point reduction during the Obama administration.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I understand the law he was talking about, because they was trying to change but never did. So a lot of people who was inside never benefit from the laws that changed. So I'm glad you're home. I'm really glad you're home.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I do have another question. My very first question is going to be, we always tend to think, or the stigma is always about our childhood. And I want to know, because we had a topic discussion about nature versus nurture on the Miller Talk. So sometimes people tend to think we're a product of our environment. So tell me, do you think that any childhood trauma led you down the path of what you did that may have caused you to go that route? And so, Love, I'll start with you. Do you think there's anything in your childhood that made you do what you did to land you in prison?
It may not. It's your childhood and other things. Like, I don't know where other people live. I was from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Very violent. But even outside of the violence, it's the in-home violence. I was molested as a child by my mother's boyfriend. And that was the beginning of it. And then you have what some parents consider discipline, but which is really abuse, the way that they beat their kids. And PTSD is real. They just started doing research on it, so on and so forth. And then the effects. One of the effects of PTSD abuse is anger, aggression, unchecked aggression, so on and so forth. Those are effects. And I was shot in the face when I was 16. I was stabbed 4 times in the back when I was 17. And then all of a sudden, there was an explosion of violence on my behalf. Maybe if I would have had some psychological help to deal with those traumas, maybe I wouldn't have went on that path. So, yeah, I can say that it does.
Okay, wonderful. Great answer to that.
I don't even want to follow up behind that, because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't have any type of situations. I mean, I seen it. It was in the neighborhood, in the area, but, you know, my thing was I was playing sports, so I was excluded from it. Even the guys that knew in the neighborhood, like, nah, bro, you on football field, go out there and play football. So I think my thing was just after high school, opportunity presented itself, and I just went from there.
Gotcha. Do you think being in that neighborhood and seeing it though played a effect? Do you think if you hadn't lived in the neighborhood that you lived in, do you think things would have been differently?
No, I think more so that I was I was discouraged after I graduated high school. I blew my knee out, didn't get my football scholarship, I didn't get no art scholarship. So I was just discouraged and just went straight to work. My father was like, you either go to school or go to work. So I started going to work and was just unhappy there at work. Was making good money at work, but was just unhappy. And the friend just reached out to me and said, hey, you want some more money? And it went down the hill from there. It went up the hill from there.
Got you.
Yeah.
I am going to double back, guys, just because we've had people to join the live after you talked about what did you go to prison for. So, Love, can you just let them know yet again, what did you go to prison for? Just so we can bring them up to speed.
Okay. Like I said, it was a RICO case from out of Brooklyn. I had altogether, I think, about 16 co-defendants. 16 co-defendants, 5 of us went to trial. It's sort of like similar to what YSL is saying now, the same type of case, but it's settled. There's a state.
And George, we'll come to you.
Oh, I had conspiracy with possession with intent to distribute. After my case was broke up, they separated us. They charged us with a lieutenant as far as my crew, and they broke us up and tried us separately. So everybody had a case. And that case went on for many years.
Okay, thank you for bringing them up to speed. And guys in the audience, yet again, Teresa, 105.7 to Phase One, the CEO, definitely says thank you guys for joining us and telling your story. So just want to let you know that both of the CEOs are on the live. So thank you guys again for joining us and being able to tell us about your story and your journey. So being free and going to prison, what was one of your biggest adjustments? Like, what was one of the biggest things you had to get adjusted to once you got there?
Shit, not being able to do what you want to do, not being able to go where you want to go.
Right.
Being fed what they want to feed you is all of the limitations. It's something you have to deal with. And some people can't. Some people go in there, they lose their minds. I've seen it.
Yeah. The limitation, the humanization, how they used to, the way they treated us, the things we had to go through, the script search, bend over, cough, and, just the way they treat us overall.
Wonderful. So, guys, just want to let you know, this is my co-host, B. So, of course,
Hello.
We have Love in the orange and then George in the black. So just so you'll know, because the guys are on here, because they kind of repositioned after you joined, and so I can't say top and bottom. I don't know where they are on your side of it. And so, and Love, I can certainly probably can see what you're talking about as far as just not being able to do what you want to do and getting adjusted to just, getting up at a certain time and them telling you when to eat, when to watch television, when you can go outside, things like that. I'm sure, and George, definitely some uncomfortable areas coming back from visiting, and then I'm sure that all of that, having to bend over and cough and just searched, I'm sure that's pretty uncomfortable. So while you were there, and George, I'll start with you, were you supported by your family? Because I know families tend to figure like, okay, you did what you did. That was your choice. Some will come visit. Some will send money. Some will take calls. Others won't. And so tell me a little bit about your family support while you were there.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a strong, when I say I have a strong family support. I went without having. I didn't have to have for nothing. Everything I needed and wanted, it was always there. I had visitation every 2 weeks. I had visitation. Although I was shipped 7 hours away from the house, my family, specifically my wife, made sure she was down there every 2 weeks to see me at visitation. Wherever I went to, where they shipped me to, they was there. It was just my wife, my mom, my brother, sister. They would come visit me, cousins. They made sure everything was there for me. I didn't have to ask anybody for nothing. I have real strong support system,
Because that's
and I'm blessed for
important.
that.
And that's why,
Yeah, yeah,
right, because
yeah,
like Love
right,
mentioned
right.
earlier, some people just can't adjust. And I'm
No,
sure without family support, that's very hard. So Love, what about you?
Oh, me, I had a support system. My mother was there, my cousin, then my brother and my sister, who were basically kids at the time, but I stayed in contact with them. My son's mother, which was iffy at times and strong at times, but I always had a connection to the outside. It was never to where, like, you would have some dudes that would have absolutely nobody.
yeah,
And it gets to that point for some people because people might die off in their family. Like one of my co-defendants, his mother died, his father, his sister, his other sister abandoned him. He wound up killing himself.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and so I've seen it up close, the damage it can do to someone psychologically. He had actually lost his mind, had to start taking medication and other things. So I've seen every spectrum of it.
B, I come to you if you have any questions for our guests.
So personally, I know that for me, I mainly think about the psychological of everything because I studied criminal justice in high school and I got my degree in psychology. Thinking about just seeing people and how their mental went and fell and rose, how did you keep your mental as strong as you did throughout that time, and then even after to reacclimate back into things? Like, how did you keep your mental together?
To
I
be
studied.
honest, oh, now I'll let you
Okay,
answer first.
yeah, I studied a lot. I got into the Bible. I studied. I started working on a social degree. I gained my paralegal diploma while I was in prison. I started working on cases, my cases. I started helping other people with their cases. And I stayed with current affairs. And I kept seeing what was going on so I can know when I get out, okay, this is what's going on now. So I won't be completely lost. And just talking with the family and it just tell me everything going on. I just, like I said, I read a lot. I stayed in the law library. I stayed in my room reading stuff and just keep abreast of what's going on.
In prison, we got a saying: do the time, don't let the time do you.
Right.
When you do the time, you occupy your mind. Like you said, I read a lot. I was in the law library. That was one of the things that helped get me out. I had to find my own motion to get out of prison. And you have people that don't do that. They get stuck in the jail life and they don't focus on anything on the outside. I watched TV, I read books. Keep your mind occupied. That's one of the basic things you have to do. That's real important in prison is being able to occupy your mind. Because you can get sucked into, there's a whole nother life inside of prison that you can get sucked into and it keeps you there.
Yeah, but
Right.
a lot of times, I think people don't understand. I read so much and I started working the case and I had to realize myself that, people was in prison, they were so bad because they continued blaming everybody else for why they was in prison or why this
Exactly.
happened to them or this and the third. And the realization of what's going on was that I put myself in prison. I did this. You know what I'm saying? So it was me. You know what I'm saying? So when I had to forgive myself for what I did, what I put my family through, it allowed me that freedom to move around prison and just be able to move up higher and to do the things I wanted to do and learn it.
That's real. That's real what you just said because even with what I said about the things that happened to me as a child, so on and so forth, and the PTSD, so on and so forth, I still blame myself
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that I was smart enough to do exactly what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And once you blame yourself, then you can move towards change. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people go in there and they
Everybody
blame the man, they blame
else.
society, they
Mm-hmm.
blame the circumstances. Now you can't do that because if you blame anyone else, you're gonna stay exactly the way that you are.
Right.
Most dudes that go in there, they try to come out smarter criminals
Right.
instead of just coming out and actually changing and
Mm-hmm.
becoming someone else. And that's what I had to do. That's why it
Mm-hmm.
was easy for me to transition.
So
Absolutely.
B, that was a wonderful question because before you joined, Love, you mentioned about your circumstance, your situation of what happens as a child. So I want to ask you this about counseling. So when you on the inside, or is there an ability to be able to get that mental help, like to talk with counselors, to talk with someone? Like, is Judge? I
Not
see your response.
If it
not
is, I didn't
true.
see it. You have to go. Listen, I'm gonna be real with you. You can go to them and say you got this problem or that problem. I know several guys who might have medical conditions, and they be like, "Hey, just go take a Tylenol and go lay down," and they'll go back to their unit and die. Or you go tell them this and the third, man. You know, for real, they don't really care for you, because a lot of them believe that you deserve to be there and you deserve to be treated the way they're going to treat you. So you may have, you might be off your mind. And what they're going to do is see you over there, put some Thursday in you, and they have you walk around like a zombie, but they're not trying to change you. Rehabilitation is not, they're not there to rehabilitate you. They're there to punish you. So you have to rehabilitate yourself.
So
Exactly. I learned about the effects of PTSD by actually getting some psychology books and looking them over, and it opened up a world to me. Like, damn, okay, this is why this is going to be impulsive behavior, the hypervigilance, and so on and so forth. And once you start to learn, and you start to make the changes within yourself. Every once in a while, you might meet somebody that isn't like he just said, but it's so few and far between. And then there might be somebody that really can't help you on that note. Like most of the psychologists, they're prison psychologists. So they're not really trying to help you. They're not really trying to help you. Now, when I was getting resentenced, when I was supposed to be going in front of the judge to get resentenced and have my case reopened, they gave me an outside psychologist. And she chimed in and started pointing out the PTSD and what happened to me as a child and so on and so forth. And the judge has said, it's 44 pages, it's 40-something pages in your report about everything that you did concerning these crimes, but it was only one paragraph about me and my family. So they really don't want to know you. They just want to know. They just want to know what happened. They don't want to know everything that it entails, who the person is, how did you get to that point, so on and so forth. And once the judge was actually able to see that played a big part in me getting the life taken off, because I had 2 life sentences.
Oh wow!
And she did the right thing and knocked it down to the point where it was time served and I came home.
Guys,
that is amazing.
Go ahead.
But just a comment that I know, and it's really hard when you going through this. I can only imagine it's extremely difficult. But it's really hard when you sit back and you have to listen to people, especially people who know the system and care about the change in the system, to see that it's really not taking effect and really not being something that they actually want to do and actually put forth money and effort into doing. The United States of America has one of the most biggest businesses in the prison system. And not in no part do they care about rehabilitation, in no part do they care about actually figuring out the problem of why the person did the crime that they did or what the crime entailed, or sometimes they don't even care exactly what happened in the crime. They just try to put a body in a building to make money on it, and it's ridiculous. And thank God that he had his grace on you two to get you two out of the situations that you were in. I'm thankful that y'all are here, because not a lot of people that look like us get out of those systems. A lot of the times they want to keep us in those systems. Because at this point, it's just paid slavery at this point. It's insane.
Yeah, it is really crazy how some of these sentences are, and the justice system and across the board, how it doesn't equate the crime.
It's big business.
Yeah, doesn't fit the
It's big
punishment.
business. Prison is traded on NASDAQ. It's big business.
It's a business.
It's like a grocery store. Every time the items go out that store, they got to put items back in that store and they're still. It's the same thing for prison.
Right. So, Love, and George, I'm going to come to you. So, tell us a little bit about Dark Soul, your book.
Oh, I wrote a book about a black superhero, but it's an adult themed book. You can see the link on my site. It's like if Zayn. I know some of y'all familiar with Zayn. It's like if Zayn wrote a superhero novel. It's along those lines. That's one of the things the judge used to give me to take back the life sentence because she said the fact that I had sat in there and I wrote a book, she saw that a lot had turned my life around. I had been in trouble in years just by seeing that I took the time out to do something like that. She saw that there was positive aspects to who I was as far as my character. Because that's the whole thing. Judges have to know who you are in order to adequately dish out their time. It's like they might see you as somebody, as this hardened criminal that can never be changed. That's going to make them give you more time because they feel like it's going to need more time for you to change. But if they can see that you're somebody who just needs some psychological help, they actually move for you to get that within sentencing and so on and so forth. But they never really get to see who you are because all they see is this person, this number, this case, and that's it.
So Nunu says prisons and pharmaceutical companies bring the most money, and that's sad. So yeah, definitely just, some comments that's out there from the audience. And thank you, Nunu. Anyone else, if you have any questions for any of
ban fish tablets.
Say it again.
They ban fish oil tablets. They want you to use medication. Yeah. That's one of the things they're good for there. They like giving you pills. Yeah. They'll give you a pill in a heartbeat.
Wow.
They give you everything. Everything. Hey, you can say you tired or take a pill.
Oh, wow.
Take a pill. They give you a pill for everything.
And I remember every year that for some odd reason the flu pill was a different color. The guys would go down there and get tried for the flu. Every year was a different color. One year was green, one year was red. They trying things on people.
I think they test those pills on us, on prisons. I believe that we was the guinea pig for a lot of pills they distribute.
Exactly.
George, tell us a little bit about Jump Forward.
Jump Forward Inc. is a nonprofit organization where I mentor to the youth. I also help those individuals try to find themselves, and those people come over prison, try to help them find jobs, resources, and tools. I've had the pleasure of partnering with, and it's crazy, I had the pleasure of partnering and gaining of speaking engagement with the U.S. Attorney's Office when I came home. That's how it all started. Yeah, when I came home, I linked up with the Urban League. And they placed me in school, asked me to do some speaking engagements for them, and one engagement led to a situation with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we was the first people in history to get contract with the U.S. Attorney's Office to go around speaking about banning the box, re-entry, stuff like that.
Great.
And we became credible messengers in that process. So they're statewide.
So you guys make sure you're following George and his nonprofit, just in case you have anyone that you have those resources out there for in order to be able to help them be rehabilitated. Love, you were going to say something? You was going to ask?
No, I'm saying what he's talking about is very necessary because even though I landed in a good situation when I came home, work-wise, it isn't the same for everybody. Yeah. A lot of guys come home and feel like me. I didn't have a work history. I didn't even have a credit history. So on and so forth. I had to start from the ground floor. But I had somebody who had a company and didn't care about my criminal history, so on and so forth, and let me start working for him. But everybody doesn't have that. So you need those resources, and those need to be more available, that would be available for people that are coming home and actually do want to work and turn their lives around. That's necessary.
So that's very good because it leads into the segue of the question that Coco Goddess 87 had. B, you want to take that in the comment?
Yes, she actually wanted to know how was it readjusting to life once getting out of prison? So once back on the outside, how was it getting readjusted? Like what steps did you take? Again, probably maybe touch on some of the mental of how it felt. Like how was that adjustment from everything that was
You know what?
inside to now.
You know, when I came home, when I first came home, I went to the halfway house. I didn't even have time to really think about readjusting. I had to think about starting to get back in my family. When I went to prison, my daughter was 7 days old when I left, and she was going on 14 when I came home. So I had to come home and just be a father and not really think about me. So really, just for me, it was hard at first because, like you said, I wasn't able to get any type of identification because I didn't have anything in my name. Everything was in my wife's name. So when I came home looking for me, my father was going to get his license renewed, and they let me allow me to pick it back off my father because I'm a junior. But that was the only hiccup I really had dealing with trying to get my identification. Then after that, good friends of mine, hey, I got this job over here, and I went to work over here. The I got this job over here. And I was urban league that allowed me to go to school, they paid me to go to class. So it just came, and I didn't have time to think about it, which I should have. Like I said, I should have came home and got me a psychologist so I can think about and take those layers away from all the stuff that happened in prison. But I didn't. I just tried to put it in the closet and say, we here now, let's go.
Me, like I said, I came home. At first, I didn't have any supervision because they had paperwork. So the first month, it was just me, but I went and got my I needed the things that I knew I needed. I went and got my learner's permit. I put money down for a car, but I came home with some money. That's why I keep saying I came home in a situation that was kind of good for me. I had a little over $9,000, and then I had my family that supported me or whatever, and I came home, getting a car, getting a job, to get back and forth to work. Those are the main two things for me, and I just really focused on that more than anything, and everything just worked out for me. It wasn't too hard for me to transition. It was basically getting up to speed with technology. So
Yeah.
Like I told somebody the first day we went to Walmart, I went to swipe my debit card, and she was like, "Nah, insert it." And I backed up from the machine and was like, "Good." Like I didn't get to insert cards and so on and so forth. Because when I left, people were saying they wasn't gonna never use debit cards. They was comfortable with cash.
Yeah.
And now everybody has a debit card, or everybody has.
Which is a good point. So with technology, how was that for you? How was that for you getting adjusted to technology, computers, internet, cell phones? And I know inside there's
even
so much
apps.
contraband. But tell me a little bit.
I was about to say, I don't
Hey,
feel
you know
like
what?
there's
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Okay.
I came home. I was tech swab when I came home. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
See, I was tech swabbing as far as the phones because I was at USP Atlanta. And anybody know about USP Atlanta, they have more cell phones than they got out here.
Hey,
So
I was at the camp over there now.
I started learning how to use phones, and but it was still difficult. Like now, I got to enjoy my freedom, which is something that I'm pushing, and I just learned how to make the t-shirts myself.
Okay.
Someone taught me someone that I'm here with right now, and I'm learning. I'm still learning about everything, business, credit, so on and so forth. Like when I came home, I had a secure credit card, and I closed the account, which I didn't know that's something you should never do. And I took an 81-point hit on my credit score for that. Mm-hmm. You have to learn things like that because that really hurt me at one point. But I wound up getting it back because I paid my bills on time and I got hold of another credit card. But it's like little things like that that people need to learn on the inside, or they need to teach them on the inside to have them prepared when they come out here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. George, what did you say? You plead the fifth?
Yeah, because love, I was at Atlanta camp, so you already know the story behind that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, when they just set it down and shipped everybody out, that's when I came home. I just made it out of that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
B, you have any other questions? I come to you.
Personally, I want to know how your family felt about everything and how they feel with you home, and a lot of the times we kind of forget that when, especially if it's a supportive family, they're doing time in essence just
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
you are. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, it's an adjustment for them as well. So like you said, your daughter was 7 days old when you went away, George. When you came back, she was 14. That's a whole life that you know
Yeah,
gone and
she was, she
done.
was, yeah, she was going on 14 when I came home, and my youngest daughter was going on 4 when I came home. I'm
And
let
so
y'all
how
think.
Well,
was that with you being away,
I caught it as soon as you
getting
said,
back, like she just said, with them
well,
adjusting to you now being there?
Um, you know what? For real, honestly, that's the hardest thing that I deal with, even now. Um, that relationship with my oldest daughter, because I wasn't in her life for so long, and then I came home. When I came home, like Love said, I suffered from PTSD, and I didn't realize it. So I was thrown off to a point where, I mean, one day I think I did a shakedown in my daughter's room. I made her stand right there. Don't you move. Give me that phone. You know what I'm saying? And I thought about it later. I'm like, man, I'm messed up. So our relationship has been kind of strained, but over the years, since she's been in college now, it has gotten better. But at first, it was kind of, because I came home like on some Rambo charge. This is how it's gonna be. It's gonna be like this,
yeah,
and she wasn't used to that because I had never been in the house. And my youngest daughter, she was a baby, so she didn't know anything about nothing.
well, my family they was happy for me to be home, but I saw what everybody was really like was if I had really changed. And then they look to see if you're shell shocked from prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the things that he was just talking about, like he went in and sit down the room. They look for certain aspects of that because you hear so much about it. Like when Kevin Hart was talking about his uncle came home, said with the chest. They look for things of that nature. And then they look to see if you're still the street dude that you were, or if
Yeah,
you're
mm-hmm.
somebody that really
yeah.
changed. And I used to hear certain conversations that they didn't think I overheard them change. They'd be like, "Yo, he really changed. Yeah, he gonna stay out here." Like my father had a talk with my stepfather. They didn't know I had stepped outside, but I heard them talking. And my father was like, "So what you think?" He was like, I think he got it. I think he the way it's supposed to be." So, but I heard this conversation from a lot of different people, but I can understand it because you remember the person that I was. A lot of people didn't see the transition because you wasn't in prison with me, so you didn't get to see the change that I made for myself. So now you're just seeing this person, and the last time that you saw me, I was a street thug,
Right, right.
and I was, but now I'm totally different, more mature. I worked on myself, and I got my head on straight. I'm focused. I'm on the right path.
Right.
Great, great. So there's a lot that's going on in society with our youth, our young men. And every time we turn on the TV, it's just a lot that they're going through. So what would you say to the young men and women? Sometimes the young girls are out there getting in trouble too, but for the most part, it's our young men. What would you say to them? If you were your young self now, what would you say to your
Tell
old
myself,
George, your young
yeah.
self, and what would that be that same message to them?
I, t- I tell myself all the time, had I been myself thinking out, leading myself, like I said, I had opportunity. I got an older brother, man. My brother, he just got that doctoral degree. He was there. He tried to get me to go in a certain direction. And I think it was just me looking in a child's mind and not reaching out to my brother, like, hey, baby, I need your help with this, or asking for advice. I tried to figure too many things out on my own. And when you 18 years old, 17 years old, your knowledge of the world is very limited if you don't reach out and talk to nobody. So, I mean, had I reached out to my big brother, my god brother, some of my sisters or my relatives, even some of my friends, and got a different perspective on something, I think I would have had a different outcome than what had happened in the first place. But I think I just took everything, just bottom, like, you know what, let me figure this out. And my figuring it out figured me to prison.
Right. Love, what about you? What would you say to the young Love if you had to talk to yourself right now? What would you tell that young person back then?
That it wasn't his fault. See, when a lot of times when people are molested, The molesters make them feel like it's their fault. And that's one of the reasons they keep it hidden. Because they feel like they're guilty in some type of way. But they're not. And trying to get some help. Like, we shun psychological help in the Black community. Oh, you're crazy if you need some mental health. But you got a lot of people, like, one time I sat around in prison, and we were all youngsters, all of us were teenagers. We was all sitting there talking about where we was shot and where this happened. Like, none of those guys got any psychological help behind being shot and jumped and all of the violence that they go through in their neighborhoods. Like, you actually need some help behind that. You got soldiers that come across that they didn't really see actually combat and have PTSD. So think about a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old or a 14-year-old that's been shot, that's been beat, that's been so on and so forth, but never really seen any psychological help. Yeah, he's going to have anger management issues. That's one of the prime effects of PTSD. And we don't talk about that. We think it's cool for us to beat the hell out of our kids. And then wonder why they have anger management issues, why they're violent. Because you taught them, if somebody pissed you off, if somebody says something you don't like, get violent. If somebody does something that we still think that's cool, and it's not. Because that's what's pushed. That's what's pushed amongst us. And all he's going to do is bring you in prison more times than not.
The fact that our community don't believe in mental health. Our community don't talk about those things. You know, when you go to him and say, "Oh, his head just screwed a little bit, he's gonna be all right." Well, they never really address those situations. They're not encouraging the kids to go seek help. Go talk to a psychologist. They're not doing that because it's like if me and my brother we go talk to psychologists, they frown upon that. Like, men are not supposed to be feeling. Men are not supposed to cry. Certain things that our community believes, and that's really harmful to the kids. It's harmful to our youth.
So Hakeem states he loved the transparency of the brother love, keeping it real. As we say, we can really have a major impact on someone else's life who's looking for change. So he's thanking you guys just for being here, just for sharing your story, just for sharing your journey, and also the transparency so that someone else that can take something from it. And that's what we're always looking for here, is to make sure that we can set a foundation and have a dialogue where someone can walk away, even if it's just one person, and be impacted by someone else's story. I will ask, well, B, I'll come to you. Do you have another?
And excuse me, some of these questions sound kind of stupid or repetitive.
No, there's no stupid question.
Right.
No.
But one of the things that I've kind of wondered myself when thinking back on some of the choices that you've made, was there any part of regret that hindered you from being able to try to take those steps to move forward? You know what I mean? Like, if there was, where was that hiccup? Where was that man in the mirror moment where you had to like really be like, okay, yeah, I made this mistake. This is what it is. I have to. Where was that point of accountability? Was it before you went in? Was it somewhere through the journey of being in there? Where was the mind shift for you?
For me, I think for me it was when I went. I think maybe like the second year I've been in. That's when I really started putting all the pieces together, and I started looking at my life. I went back to my actual case, and I said, you know what? It didn't start there. And I go back a little farther. And I go back a little farther. And I go back a little farther. I'm like, wait a minute. So my situation started back then. It wasn't at that moment that I caught the case. It was a long time ago. It just finally caught up with me. Mm-hmm. So it was during that time I thought, you know what? So that's when I started to change me. I started to change my way of thinking, my way of moving around, my way of wanting to do things. It fuels me right now. The ignorance I have, the want to keep on pushing, the want to go farther and farther. Because now I realize Where I should have realized a long time ago, I am. You know what I'm saying? I didn't believe I was, but I know I am now.
And love for
Okay.
you, your aha moment.
Um, when I had with the Smoke, it's a lockdown program that they had, and I came across, like I said, I came across a psychology book and actually looked at post-traumatic stress disorder and looked at the effects of it and what it causes. That was a light bulb moment for me, and I read something about one of the ex-presidents. It said you'll never get where you're going if you stop to deal with every dog that barks along the way.
Mm.
When I applied that to my life, that's when I stopped getting in trouble as much because I learned to bypass a lot of things because you have to focus on the bigger picture.
Right.
And a lot of people don't do that at times. Like when they allow themselves to get explosively angry, they're not thinking about the bigger picture, what can happen behind that anger,
Right.
and so on and so forth. But when I applied that to my life, yeah, you'll never get where you're going if you stop to deal with every dog that barks along the way. I never forgot that.
Because I'm pretty sure these young kids, they're not realizing when they do stuff they're doing, that they are waiting to give them 100 years. They're waiting to give them life sentences. And that when they get these sentences, someplace they're never coming back from. I don't think they necessarily realize the significance of what they're really doing. They think it's a game and all fun. They just doing it at the moment. But when they start getting these numbers, I've seen big, strong muscle dudes get these numbers to break down. I mean, oh, Lord, you know, so
That's
I
right.
don't realize, I don't think they realize that until they get those numbers. And when they get numbers, you know, it's already, if you did that.
Do you think that? Go ahead, love. I see you coming. Go ahead.
Now I see somebody said, "What are you guys doing to give back?"
No, I
So
think a lot.
they probably want to hear earlier for what you had to say because you're definitely giving back. And then what I do is like I encourage the guys that do come home that I know we got like a little community of us that keep in contact. We keep each other on track.
Yes,
We keep each other on track, so on and so forth.
family. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I still talk to a lot of guys that locked in with me. We call, see how they doing. Hey, man, what you got going? You good? And try to encourage each other around them doing good. You know, me giving back, man, I go to these schools. I talk to these kids in school, middle school, high school. I go to college. I go talk to kids in colleges. I even been back to federal prison to talk to inmates in there before they get ready to get released. Talk to different businesses. So, man, I stay trying to do something. I stay. If I see you in the middle of the street, my daughter told me yesterday. She said, "Daddy, you ain't scared of strangers. You always come to strangers. Every moment is an opportunity to get somebody and pull them. You know, because you never know where a person may be in their life. They may be right there on the cuffs ready to go left or right, and you might be just right there
It's the
at
right
the
one.
right time,
Teach them
at
to
the
go right.
right time to put that person in the right direction. So I see opportunity. I'm gonna go ahead and just start talking to them. Hey, ooh, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always talking. I think I be in my sleep talking. You know what I'm saying?
So I know here in Georgia they're trying to, well, Atlanta, let me say that. They're trying to implement this curfew for the teens. Do you guys think that will be something that would help? Or what impact do you think that would have, if any, on what we're seeing from our youth as it relates to crime?
I think it's necessary.
Go
But I
ahead,
don't think
love.
it's,
I think it's at the point where it's necessary.
yeah.
It's sad that it is necessary, but
George, you?
because like
Okay,
there's no
sorry.
reason for
Go ahead.
a teenager to be out till 11, 12 o'clock at night. Anyway, so it's necessary right now.
But it's gonna be hard for some people because some parents work at night. I work the evening shift
Exactly.
myself. I get out 12 o'clock at night, get home 1 o'clock. So if my child want to do something, I wouldn't be home to see unless you got cameras. And some
Right.
parents have to work in 2 jobs just so they survive. And so I think that's a curfew is a minor step in a bigger picture. You know, because these kids, a lot of them are bored. I mean, okay, they on social media so much. They're being influenced so much by social media and what other people are doing that they are trying to emulate and try to act the same way. So I think it's you got to go back to the household. You know,
I was going to
my
ask
father, he
that.
was strong old school. My father's an old school man. You know, he went on tough old dude. You know, it was his way or no way. But I think families today, we got so soft and so worn down. You know, we just pretty much wait till our kids get so far off that when we try to pull them back, it's too late. You know some kids be 5 years old, they little John the man doing that and third, y'all think it's funny. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't funny. You know what I'm saying? So, cause when he get old, it's gonna get worse. And now you already lost control of it. Now, when I was young, and my brother, everybody, I know if grown folks talk, kids go somewhere else.
That's right.
Now, these kids right there, and they got comments to say to it. So I think it's just the time, the way that we allow the government to influence our families. I think that has a major impact on it. And plus, people don't have no money. There's a lot of people out here hurting.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not have necessary income to really do the things they want to do. There's so many kids that want to do some things. But I also do AAU basketball. I got host of Traveling League basketball. I got a group of girls out there. I'm always trying to do sponsorship for them. Matter of fact, I got a raffle going on. The drawing will be April. The quit itself to support these girls. Ren Rock and College Ball. I got a piece to give away. April the 8th, come out there, College Park, man. We got to give stuff away to these kids. But you got to have people out here to really try to pour into these families because some of them don't have anything. And I know there's a lot of people doing stuff, but it's not enough. It's not enough. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough. We need a bunch of people to come out here and grab them. But it's hard these days because your neighbor can't tell your child what to do. Now, when I was coming up, the apartment next over, they see me, hey, I'm telling your dad, I got to get right. But now it's like, you don't even know your own neighbor. Who's staying next door to you?
Yeah, that's true. Because I tell you, my neighbors, I tell people all the time, I keep my ears to the street. And in my neighborhood, at the schools, I make relationships. So anything that little girl of mine trying to do, somebody's going to tell it. So I be telling her all the time, honey. So I welcome people to call me and tell me about mine because if people don't, like you said, you won't know, and then things tend to happen and they get too far gone. So, Love, was you going to add anything?
Oh, no, I spoke my piece on it. Like I said, I think it's necessary, but it's going to be difficult to enforce. Because like you said, you got parents that work at night. Like, I don't have kids, but if I did, I work at night a lot. Because I do security at clubs and so on and so forth. And that's where the difficulty is going to come in with that. But I can understand why they're doing it.
Definitely understand why.
It was mainly that shooting that happened in the train station. I know it was right after that shooting that happened in the train station. There were multiple teenagers involved and so on and so forth. So, like you said, it's necessary, but it's going to be difficult to enforce. And you can't really blame parents who have to work. Like, I have to make a living.
They got to pay the bill.
That's right.
So how exactly are you going to do that? So like you said, you have to get to the root of the problem.
Right. So
it's definitely a Band-Aid.
Go ahead, B.
I'm sorry. It's definitely a Band-Aid to a more serious wound.
Yeah.
Really.
It is.
Absolutely. So guys, we have about 10 minutes left. If you have any questions out there in the audience, now is the time to go ahead and just type it in the chat so that we can get them out here to the panelists and ask those questions because these guys have really been amazing to tell their journey and tell their story. So, and from 105.7 The Phase, we'll give them time to type it in if they have any questions. We want to thank you guys for being here, for telling your journey, for telling your story. Continue definitely to reach back, be a advocate in the community to help people rehabilitate, tell your story, make sure these young men know what those sentences look like. Because if they know those numbers and what they can face, sometimes maybe, just maybe, they'll do something different. Any last thoughts or questions out there from the audience? And do you have anything else?
I want people to know that just because you go through a situation does not define you as a situation. You know, like Love said, we've been blessed and been home. We've been able to get back and start doing things in our community, start doing things for ourselves. And, you know, I got the opportunity right now. I want to thank all my friends. I got some beautiful friends that love me to death and love on me, my family. I would not be without them because, you know, now, like I said, I wish I had done when I was younger. Now when I have ideas, whatever, I can call my brother, hey man, what do you think about this? You know, what do you think about this? You know what I'm saying? So I just want to thank everybody for all the support you give to me, and I want to encourage y'all, man. I want to challenge y'all, better yet, man. Go get 3 kids and talk to them, and of course, love them. Yeah, after you get those 3 kids, man, go tell your 3 friends to go get 3 more kids, man.
That's right.
Man, let's just go and get involved with these kids' life, because a lot of times you don't realize that they might have to sit there and pretend like they don't, but they want to be heard. They want somebody to listen to them. Don't go talk at them, talk to them. Let them talk with you, and you'll be amazed what these kids tell you. They got a story to say, and it's amazing. I mean, they will tell you so many things that you have to, because we're too busy talking at them. You got to listen to what these kids saying.
Mm-hmm. And love.
I'm pushing the agenda of enjoying my freedom. That's what I push on my TikTok. It's just really appreciative of life and everything that it has to offer. A lot of things that people take for granted, somebody like me appreciates. And that's what enjoying my freedom is. And a lot of people say it makes them more appreciative of the things that they have. Because a lot of what social media pushes is that you don't have enough. And that's where a lot of the disconnect comes in, that because everybody's trying to keep up with the people that have so much more than them. And they need to appreciate what they have, what's in front of you, what's important. Family, being able to live, eat, work, do whatever it is that you do within the day, spending time with your loved ones. Those are things you should be appreciative of, because it's people that can't do that.
Yeah.
With those closeouts, we do have someone asking, which is great. I thank you for asking that. If we can get you guys both to tell our audience your social media handle, like how can they find you guys and follow you on social media?
And your nonprofits that you have. Suppose.
Thank you.
Well, you can follow me at Jump Forward Inc. I am on. You can Google me, Jump Forward Inc. That's go straight to my website. On IG, Jump Forward Inc. On Facebook, Jump Forward Inc. You can look for me. We've been getting ready to celebrate this year. We got some amazing things going on. We can do some amazing things. Matter of fact, in May, I'll be graduating again in May. And I think I want to do a celebration to all the people who love me. I want to celebrate them with this graduation right here. So just go to my comment, jumpforwardinc.com. www.jumpforwardinc.com. Hit that button, go through my page, see what's going on, get in contact with me. I'm always working. I'm sleeping, I'm working. I keep my phone like this when I'm sleeping. Ready for you to hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. So reach out to me, I'm reach back out to you. And I want to appreciate y'all for having us on here.
You're
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Love.
Well, my Instagram is Genuine Love 718. My Facebook is Love Brooks. My TikTok is Love Brooks 718. And like I said, pretty soon I'm gonna be coming with these T-shirts that I'm starting to put together, enjoying my freedom, just pushing the agenda, being appreciative of what you have. That way you don't have to constantly look outside of yourself, because you are your own joy. You should be able to enjoy the fact that you woke up in the morning and have breath, that you're out here alive. A lot of people didn't make it. You got people with terminal illnesses. There's always somebody in a worse position, and you need to be appreciative of what you have and what's in front of you.
And before we close out, one other thing, and I apologize. Love, we talked about yours earlier, but I want you to do it again. Kind of tell them your book, the name, where you can find it, and then George will come to you and you can do the same.
Oh, Dark Soul is a black superhero, but it's adult themed. So if you don't like sexual situations and violence, you don't read the book. But you can find a link on my site. You can find a link. It's on my it's on my Instagram page. It's on my Facebook page, and it's on my TikTok page.
And George, yours?
Oh, I'm always Jump Forward Inc. You can always find me anywhere.
What's the name of your book, George?
Okay, so I have a book called Honor and Deceit. You can find it on Amazon. You can Google it. It's called Honor and Deceit. I am actually going to start. I had started working on my second book, but when I finished this semester, I started working on my second book this summer. So definitely be on the lookout for that. This is an eye opener. It's going to talk about a lot of stuff, more personal stuff than anything before.
Wonderful. Well, guys, we want to yet again thank you for taking time to come on here. and join us at Talk That Queens with Amanda Miller Talks, 105.7 The Phase. Thank you for telling your story, your journey. Glad to have you home. Wonderful African American Black men. Guys, stay representing our community. We really appreciate you and your journey and your story. I always close out and say there's a lot of amazing people out there in the world. If you aren't one, become one. But you guys are certainly amazing in your
Amazing
own
people.
right.
Yes.
And so, B, will let you close out as well.
Well, as we all, for the ones of us that are, true to this, not new to this, for the ones that are new to this, make sure that you live every life, like every day, like it is your dress, like it's your final performance, because you don't have any dress rehearsals. Like Amanda said, be one of the great examples in this world. Be examples like these two strong Black men who went through and truly are triumphant. Y'all have an amazing, amazing week. Please remember that we love you.
Have a good day, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.